After looking at something for about 2 to 3 months, I finally decided to reach out to Sougayilang and see if they would work with me on getting one of these, and they were actually nice enough to get me one so I can take a look at it. And, I mean, it's pretty cool. The packaging especially, it's actually fairly obvious. Nice, cleanly packed. This came inside a larger box. It's actually pretty nice. I kind of dig what they did here. Quite efficient. And this is the first time I've ever opened a Sougayilang product, and I'm not a huge fisherman myself. I don't own a ton of rods and reels and whatnot. I really just started maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. And I saw it on Amazon, and they had like some really cool photos of this. Very, very, very B-rolly. Here's the reel. Now the reel is an LV100, but in my case it's the LV100L, meaning it's a left-handed reel. It's I'm not entirely sure why, but I've always found myself casting with the right and then reeling with the left. Now on the box it says it has a fully adjustable magnetic cast control. It's titanium coated line guide. Proted aluminum forged spool. I'm not entirely sure what proted is, but okay. 200 grams. Drag max is 4 kilograms. And the line capacity, 0.28 millimeters, can hold 120 meters of line, and 0.30 millimeters can hold 100 meters of line. I'll have to figure out what this translates to. I might put it in the notes section. It's got 10+1 bearing, so it should be pretty smooth. I mean, the only other big casting reel that I own is a Shakespeare Agility, and it's got 3 bearings in it. Here's the reel. Ooh, that's actually quite smooth. Not bad. Not bad at all. Star drag, very clicky. Very, very, very clicky. Very nice. Let's see. Drag. It's actually quite, or the reel spool adjustment's actually quite smooth. It's not like another reel that I have, but I don't actually use. I just got it. I spent a good afternoon cleaning it. It was a Abu Garcia Agility. No, Abu Garcia Pro Plus Ambassador. It's from like 1980. Got it, and it was real crusty. I ended up cleaning it for about 2 or 3 hours. It's a lot smoother than this. But then again, I'm talking about a reel that's ages old. Let's see. Magnetic control system here. Very clicky, very loud. It's got all the way up to 10. So it goes from 0 to 10. Here is the, let's see if I can adjust this light a little bit more. Alright, so that would be the titanium coated line guide. Looks pretty cool. It's very nice. Weird thing that I've noticed is, unlike the American reels that I've bought, it doesn't say made in China on the bottom. I'm not familiar with Sougayilang, so they're very new to me. I saw this and literally bought it because I liked the way it looked. Very nice. Very smooth. I mean, I own a 3-bearing bait casting reel, and this is smoother than that. But then again, last I checked, Shakespeare wasn't exactly a known product. Oh, check that out. There's no button release or anything here. Goes down, comes out. 5 magnets. And then the spool, it's not extremely light, but I've got a few bobbins in my house that are belonging to my fiance that weigh a lot more than this. Neat. Oop, let's see, down, up. Very nice. See if you can see the worm gear here. Alright. See if I can loosen the drag, see how much freedom this gives me. A decent bit of freedom. I mean, the drag system, so it should be able to spool freely. Very cool. So this is the real part. And now for the rod. Obviously packaged. Obviously labeled too. Let's see. Now bear with me here because this is actually the first audio video review I've ever done in my life. It's ad lib. I've seen plenty of reviews on YouTube, but for some reason I decided not to do the full production. I'm not even sure if I'm going to edit this. Alright, bubble wrap. Have plenty of fun with that later. Alright, so in the description it said that it came with a case, which honestly I think is pretty damn awesome. Because every rod should come with one of these. Unfortunately they don't. But in my case, I normally buy the actual, the rod and reel sets. Alright, so, bag itself, a couple strings here, a couple strings here, folds over, and they have it tied around an overhand. Alright, let's take a look here. What is this? So, they advertise having 2 rod tips. Now, this is a 2-piece rod. So this rod tip appears to be somewhat flexible. Not heavily, somewhat. Okay, so that's rod 1. And here is rod 2. Or, sorry, rod tip 2. Now this one is actually not a lot stiffer, but do them side by side. It's probably not recommended, but why not? I would say this one's here is a little bit more flexible than this one. So, cool. Now the one thing that catches my eye right now is the eyelets. They look like they're steel, and they are chemically treated, so they have this weird pearlescent color to them, and it'll probably be difficult to see with the lamp because I'm not a huge fan of this lamp. Colors are kind of off, but you can see that the eyes are held down. I can actually see the line that's holding each eyelet and how it's been epoxied, so that's actually quite cool. It's not some weird painted thing, it's a clear acrylic kind of material. Very cool. And I just love the color. It's such a deep blue. I mean, my favorite color is blue. That's why I got this on first sight, but that's a really nice shade of blue. It's one of those blues that you're kind of inclined to not take out or you're not inclined to take whatever you have out because it's sort of out of the norm. But at the same time, you're kind of happy with the fact that it's yours and you can do so. Alright, so here is the bottom part of the fishing rod. It's got a bit of plastic on here. Try and get rid of that. The grip handle is metal. I don't know it might be aluminum. Because it's actually quite cold, but not extremely cold, so it might be like a plastic now that I think about it. But here, this is real cork. Like I'm putting my fingernail in it and it's going straight in, but it's firm. The bottom part still has some more plastic on it. Very soft cork. And the bottom has what looks like a copper, maybe a brass plate with their logo on it, with Sougayilang logo on it. Here's a hook keeper. I actually dig this because of the orientation and the way it holds hook, and it can actually fold away. How about that? That's actually quite cool. So the hook comes in here and you can actually make it so that it's pointing towards the rod, so if anything comes in contact on the sides, there's less of a chance. I have another hook. I have another rod with a hook keeper, and it's just a straight loop. And what it'll do is it'll hold the hook on, pointed sideways. So if you grab it incorrectly, there's a chance that you might, find yourself with a pair of pliers and pulling a hook out. First eyelet is definitely a bait cast eyelet. It's not huge. It's not too big. It's larger. And this is Sougayilang, I guess, S702ML. So I know this is a 7-foot rod. Kind of interesting how they have a gold, looks like a bonefish on it, but I could be wrong. Now, the reel hold down mechanism is definitely metal. It seems to be aluminum. This piece up here also metal. And if I were to unspool this all the way up, place the reel in the correct direction, spin it down, not too tight though, I'm not trying to break it. Wow, that looks quite nice. It's kind of a weird bell shape though, but I mean, it's holding it down securely. It's not now the sound you hear is just the spool moving about. Just that drag, so it's really tight. Weirdly enough, the spool tension is to tighten it, you go forward. I'm not entirely sure if that's right, and it's spool tension definitely is affecting the reel. You're reeling. So the tighter it is, the harder it is to even reel it back in. If I go backwards, nice and smooth. If I go forwards, towards the reel, not entirely sure if that's what happens on my other bait caster, but it works. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and I know for a fact that I should be doing this with line on it and an actual lure on it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and dial some settings in just to mess with it and play with it. I mean, it's quite smooth. I don't feel anything wrong with this guy. It travels a lot better. Feels nice. My thumb's a little bit wider than the spool center, but when it's full of line, it might feel better. Alright, and as stated, this is a 6:3 to 1, so 1 turn equals 6.3 turns on the spool. Cool. Very cool. Now, let's go ahead and put one of these rod tips on. And let's see. That's a nice feel. It's good for a 2-piece. I'm the kind of person who has a 4-door sedan and not a lot of space. So, not to mention I've got children, and space is of very, very heavy value for me. Let's see how this feels if there's quite a bit of flex. Plenty of kickback though. I mean, it flexes back almost instantaneously. It does wiggle just a little bit, but I mean, I don't feel anything wrong with it. Just adequate spacing in the middle between. It's a split grip, so you'll have that sort of action of where you can actually grab it and go and sort of transfer real fast if you want to continue that throw. And obviously I can't show you me actually trying to cast it in my own house. Kind of have to do it pretty low because of the ceiling, but I don't know if you can hear the whipping, but it feels really nice. The grip's really nice. I'm not entirely a giant fan of the pistol grip, but I can see why you need it. I started with a spinning rod. Well, actually, I started with a spin caster, and then I kind of got tired of that. Ended up getting a spinning rod, and then I'm on my first bait caster, and this is my second official bait caster. I have another reel that I'm not using, but I plan on seeing if I can use it on a bait casting rod, a spin casting rod. Not bad. Not bad at all. Gets my vote. Of course, the real test will come when I actually take it out. For me, that'll be maybe in a couple days. For you, it'll be a clip away. Well, depending on how I decide to edit this together and post it on YouTube or Amazon, this might be goodbye, this might not be goodbye. Bye for now. Sorry for the jump cut, but I actually found this out at the end of the previous parts of the review. But one thing I did notice is that there's actually writing at the bottom of the fishing rod. Now I have to take off one of the rod tips that I had on here in order for me to actually get an angle on here. But if you read it, it says 7-foot length, medium light action, fast, line 6 to 12 pounds, lure weight 1/8 to 3/4 ounce. So this is a medium light rod, which didn't occur to me until I pulled out my Shakespeare agility and realized that this thing is actually a lot thinner. Well, not a lot, but somewhat thinner in comparison. I mean, now that I have them both out here, I guess I can show you sort of how much play there is on this one. So that's the play. So one spin and knocking the camera, I guess, which would make people woozy. But one spin and then same sort of feel on the spin. I mean, it goes a lot faster and further. Now there is no line here, and I will spool this later. I might come back and cut it again on the footage and show the spins again. But I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot of turns versus this one. In comparison, I guess, I mean, they're both about the same in size. The rod cork is a different style. Like this looks like it's a like they actually cut it from the tree, or it's like a solid piece that they cut and put on here. This is like an amalgamated, like they had the sap, I believe. I'm not entirely sure how cork is made off the top of my head, but I mean, this one just looks more natural. But then again, this could be from a different kind of tree that produces a similar cork. And then on the bottom, I mean, the handle's a bit longer, and the gap between the split handle is actually a bit wider or longer. But I mean, they're both pretty good. And just to let you know, this is what I was talking about. This is a profile, I guess a side shot of the hook keeper and how it sort of extends that much, and then you can fold it down if you so choose. On this one, it's just a loop. But I mean, the reels are quite similar. The only real difference, I would say, is this screw is not on this side. I have to undo this screw to get this plate off. But on this one, the LV100, I just have to turn it down, and then it just comes straight off. There's nothing else that keeps me from doing that. And there might be a little bit of a concern in which, you know, if I'm casting aggressively and I'm not paying attention, I could loosen this. But it's got this weird little pinion or pin here on the inside that sort of keeps it from doing that. Anyhow, I mean, it's a nice rod and reel too. Not bad. This is listed as $270 on Amazon, and then it looks like it's been marked down to $89. And I'm going to go ahead and edit or recant something I said earlier in which I'd worked with Sougayilang. I did work with them, and they managed to get some part of a discount, but I approached them. They didn't approach me. I just wanted to see if they'd be okay with me doing a review, and apparently they were enough to help me out in regards to obtaining one of these. But I mean, I was going to buy it anyway. It's just a matter of time for me. This will be really cool to use. But yeah, still recommend it. I'll be trying it on the water soon. I'm a shore fisherman type person. Unfortunately, I don't have a boat or anything. So that'll be sooner or later. And then I'll go ahead and cut it into this video, I guess. There'll be plenty of cutting going on around here. At least footage-wise. I might re-record the whole thing. Anyway, goodbye for now. About 3 weeks of making that last video, I finally find myself at a pond. But here it is. Here's the fishing rod. Did bring it back up just in case. Didn't want to waste the day if everything goes wrong. But here it is. I've got a sinking worm set on set semi-weedless. I don't have a body cam or some kind of strap to keep this camera rolling the whole time. But all I can do is turn the camera off, have a nice fishing afternoon, and move on. But one thing that I probably didn't say in my review, and this review's ad lib, there's all the eyes on the reel are stainless steel, and they've been sort of fire kissed to give them, or chemically kissed to give them this nice little rainbow color. It's actually quite cool, and in the sun, I mean, it really looks blue. The camera does not give it enough justice, or do it enough justice. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a few tosses, see if I get anything. Hopefully I do, hopefully I don't. It is late summer, so probably I'm gonna get maybe one if I'm lucky. But I've got 15-pound braid, I believe, set up here, so we'll see what I get. Now I've taken the rod and started casting, but I'm trying to see if it's even feasible for me to sort of slowly work this worm while I'm fishing. I mean, while I'm trying to get a fish while filming. So it's quite light, a little sensitive. The pond that I'm fishing at has a bad fountain on one side and a good fountain on the other, so you can pretty much tell that the bad fountain is not doing its job by getting stuff to move around and letting stuff settle long enough to get all these pads, these moss pads. But I mean, kind of thumbing the spool here while I'm trying to get something to bite. Don't think I'm going to get anything because I've been skunked twice here. But I don't have much of a bass don't have that many bass ponds or rivers available to me here. Yeah, but I mean, it's overall, I mean, I've gotten pretty far casts on it. I have the drag set to almost nothing. I have the spool tightened pretty high. But I mean, I haven't had a problem with it yet. I am starting to see a little bit of wear in paint here, but as you can see, you can kind of see where it's sort of looking like it's tearing or was painted, and then somebody removed whatever was keeping the paint from seeping through. But no issues yet. It's a pretty decent rod. What I believe is about 2.5 hours of fishing. I'm just moving over to another spot at this point, but I just wanted to give more or less of an update. So, I have two bait casters here, in case I didn't mention it in the earlier video. And overall, I would call the Sougayilang bait casting rod pretty damn good, actually. I haven't had any birds nesting, bird nests happen. They just do. It's kind of a way of life, and if you or just a product of using a bait caster. But from what I've been able to figure out, in settings and whatnot. And keep in mind that this is my second bait caster ever, so I'm still getting used to messing up with the settings, changing stuff around, and I've had pretty bad bird nests with the Shakespeare here that I have here. Keep in mind, Sougayilang has a lot more bearings than the Shakespeare. The Shakespeare, I believe, has 3 bearings. The Sougayilang has 10 plus 1 apparently. And you can tell, I can cast this guy so damn far compared to the Shakespeare. Now, don't get me wrong, it's encouraged me to mess with the settings in the Shakespeare. They're both going to be part of my arsenal, no, like hands down. But the medium light action of the Sougayilang is so much more able to just chuck these worms and any other bait pretty damn far. So, I mean, I'm giving it my vote. I haven't had any issues. I haven't, they're both quite light, but Sougayilang, it just feels like I've got nothing in my hand and I can just go ahead and chuck as far as I want, and I'm not going to have any real repercussions to that. I mean, I can't for the life of me knock this rod. So, if you're ever looking at it, either on Amazon, eBay, whatever, give it a shot. I mean, there are a lot of bait casters available for a lot more, and this does that much for a good bit less. Give it a shot. Heavily recommend it. I'm gonna keep fishing with this guy. Just saw some water gurgling over there, so I'm gonna try my hand a few more times. But who knows? I might edit this or chop this up. If I do, oh well. But I mean, it's one of the very nice opportunities I have to actually fish for a good extended period of time. All right, have a good day, y'all. Bye. Just started fishing this spot, and I got this guy on this rod. He did not make it easy at all, and he's still fighting. Jeez, I had to lift it over this here too. I couldn't just land it. I had to pull it up. It survived. I'll say that. This guy is not light.